Next Joe and the youth gone wild. Podcast is making your summer a blast. Lined up for interviews or rock. Legends in the game and new blood trying to make a name. Streaming everywhere. Yeah. And the youth gone wild. Podcast is making your summer a blast. Lined up for interviews or rock. Legends in the game and new blood trying to make a name. Streaming everywhere.
What is going on, my fellow beach bums? Well, wait, I'm sorry. I shouldn't jump to conclusions. Maybe you are not at the beach. Maybe you are just on a staycation. That's cool too. But myself, Gen X Joe, I am actually on vacation for the next couple of weeks. And then I have a couple of road trips I need to go on with the family and a few other commitments that I need to be taken care of. Now, before you jump to conclusions, the answer is no. No, I am not going to jail. My youth gone wild side is way in the past. That's why my show is now called the Youth Gone Mild Podcast. And just to reintroduce my podcast, it is the Youth Gone Mild, where hairlines fade, but rock never does. And normally I would be saying I am coming to you from my studio called Wherever I May Roam. However, I am actually coming to you from wherever this summer takes me. And these episodes coming up in the next couple of weeks or month, I am calling them the vacation episodes. They are already pre-produced and going to be streaming throughout the entire month of July and possibly into August. I am still going to be bringing you the best conversations, the best stories, and of course, the best guest in the rock scene today. And hell, I have some legends and I have some new blood that's trying to make a name for themselves. Great interviews all lined up. And before I get to the interview, I just want to thank my sponsor, Lisa Gandia of Celebrity Events. If you are a new artist, an established artist, or even an old head, and you are looking to book shows nationally, Lisa is the person you want to get in touch with. Tell her Gen X Joe sent you, and you can reach out to her on her website at celebrityeventsrock.com. For social media, for myself here at the Youth Gone Mild podcast, we are on all major social media platforms at Youth Gone Mild PC. And as I like to say, the PC does not stand for politically correct. All right, so it's time to kick back, crack open something cold, enjoy that sun, the sand if you're at the beach, and most importantly, the sound of the Youth Gone Mild podcast. I am in vacation mode, and these are the vacation episodes of the Youth Gone Mild podcast. Here's today's interview.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm really stoked about being here.
Oh, man, absolutely. You know, it didn't dawn on me at first that you were the contestant on season 7 of America's Got Talent.
Partly true.
Partly true. Okay. What's true?
Yeah, this is where it gets interesting. Believe it or not, it's scripted to a degree as well, just like Jerry Springer. Everything's a game. Everything's about numbers and has been for years. So that was a staged audition in Charlotte. They paid me to come out and sing to make the show more interesting. They were looking for a Little Ozzy to surprise Sharon Osbourne. And I was the only one when they Googled and searched that was in existence. Which is pretty cool when you think, when I started it, I knew I was on a mission. And I knew Sharon was going to see it. And I didn't even try, and it came right to my door. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I would say so. Now, I know you've always been a musician at heart since a little age, and your grandmother, if I'm correct, she helped you learn music.
She did that. Jackie Fenderson was my biggest influence and biggest cheerleader for anything I ever did like that. Yeah, she was a strange character when I say that. She was from the mountains of Virginia, and she moved to where I grew up was 20 miles south of Richmond, Virginia, in a small town called Colonial Heights. And she was, yeah, somewhat of a celebrity because of her amazing piano abilities. Not only did she teach piano, but she also did children's theater, pageantry, and she taught modeling up until she was about 68 years old. She even trained, she had, I don't know, you're probably a little too young to remember this. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I am 52.
Okay, you might remember WKRP in Cincinnati.
Oh my God, Dr. Johnny Fever was my idol growing up.
Tim Reed, what was his? Venus Flytrap. Remember him? Okay, yeah. She taught, and my aunt, her sister-in-law, taught their kids dancing and modeling.
Oh wow.
And also, when I was a child, they would bring over a young boy by the name of Blair Underwood, who became a huge actor when we
Yeah.
were young, 12 to 14 and 15. So that was kind of neat because I was always around shows. And, but she gave me a lot of confidence. And I'll never forget the first play I did at Colonial Heights Community Center. I was about 10 years old. It was a big one. And I was the only boy in the entire thing. It was nothing but teenage girls. Absolutely loved it. And they absolutely loved having a guy there. And I sang my first solo in front of about 150 people. And it was kind of a Broadway thing. But it was really, really cool. I still remember the song. But that gave me a lot of confidence in my teen years to pursue musicians and bands and things like that, and kind of just take the bull by the horns and kind of lead it all.
In reading some of your bio, it was stated that you kind of got overlooked for a lot of memberships of bands because of your height.
Exactly. I still get overlooked today, bro.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. It's a strange anomaly. You know, like when Ozzy died, for example, there was a plethora of bands that just appeared out of nowhere. You know, I can safely say 5 years ago there was only a handful of tribute bands that tributed Ozzy. There's some really big ones out there that are great, like Mr. Crowley, the Black Sabbath American Experience, who I'm great friends with their singer Brian Brown. And Osmosis is probably one of my favorites. They're incredible. But then there's a whole bunch of other ones that just surfaced up with money behind them or names or something because they're not that talented, and they're busier than most rock bands I grew up with. They're playing all over the country. So yeah, there's a tendency to get a little jealous, would be the word maybe, or a little angry about it because I feel like, you know, that I know that my band is professional. I've worked on it for 15 years. I've honed it in. And I'm a professional in that field. And I know that I sound like Ozzy. He told me that in person and on TV for the world to see. And, you know, I had their endorsement, Sharon and Ozzy, for years. And I'm not as busy as I'd like to be. That's kind of a strange thing. Yeah. It was tough in the 80s. It was tough because, yeah, they would just, you know, right away they wanted somebody that looked pretty and could get up there and they didn't even care if they sang. You know, and it's true because most people, they do hear with their eyes.
Yeah.
Instead of, you know, if the band comes out and looks like $1 million, like Poison, and a bunch of guys look like girls up there and they're really, you know, look cool, everybody's excited to hear them. So they've already kind of captivated an audience. Now, they must really have to suck for people to boom off the stage at that point. So back in my day, I had to use sheer talent, you know, be really, you know, assertive and just kind of jerk. And just control it myself. Yeah. But
Right.
It paid off a lot. 100% my creation. Yeah. things are a little different perspective. I got 7 years this year in September clean from alcohol and drugs. So, yeah, I live a different lifestyle than I used to. So, but I would be happy with 3 shows. Maybe three shows, 3 weekends out of a month. I'm sorry. I would be happy with that, doing casinos, fly-ins, and things like that. But yeah, and it's getting there. It's just slow, and it's a lot of hard work. I've been doing it 15 years, and I'm just breaking through into the casino network somewhat. I just headlined Atlantic City in New Jersey, and our numbers are way up there. When everything's promoted properly. We do Ocean City is unbelievable. We'll bring 800 to 900 people in the show.
That's
Ocean
awesome.
City, yeah, which I'm stoked we're going to be there in September. Yeah, it's just the way it rolls sometimes. You got to keep, and it is true that the harder you work at anything, and the more you do it, the better you get, and things get, busier. So, yeah, I go through periods where I just get really tired of it. I've gone through several booking agents, and they all rip you off, and and I'm not trying to sound like it's dark and in a bad kind of a way, but it's just the business. The business is nasty, It really is. There's a lot of dogs out there, and everybody's in it for themselves. And they don't care if you drive all the way to Texas to play a show under contract, and they don't care, You got to really play your cards different. We went down there one time to play a gig, and basically got ripped off. The guy was supposed to pay us like $3,500 for one, in Austin, I think it was, and yeah, he didn't give us but like $200.
Oh dear God!
What do you do in that situation when 6 guys come out from the back and tell us we need to leave? It's either take your $200 or be shot, killed, and buried in the ditch somewhere in Texas.
Yeah, because you never know who you're messing with.
Right, but I'm a little different now. I mean, you learn a lot. You learn that okay, you want me, then you got to send half up front, bank transfer or whatever, deposit 2 weeks. You write the contract and you tell them they got 2 weeks. You sign it, you send the money back. If you don't, we're not holding the date. And that works pretty good usually. And then these are just tips for anybody listening. Always get your money when you arrive before you set your stuff up. Because that's just what you need. You've flown people in. People have traveled, 10 hours sometimes in a car with their wife, and they're there, and they don't want any hassle, So that's how I do it, and it's a lot easier now. I would say what makes my band different is it's important to have 3 or 4, however many you have. I don't have a keyboard player right now, but it's important that you have a leader, which is me, and that the guys get along and they're similar. If you got one guitar player that likes to blow coke every weekend after the show or drink the whole time, he's not going to work. It's just not going to work. So you got to be serious and you got to have musicians. I would say what sets us apart is that I've always been very fortunate to have an incredible guitar player. I've had so many wonderful guitar players. I won't say wonderful all around. I'll just say wonderful and talented. But that being said, Ozzy always, and Sharon, they would always shock the world with whenever they got a new guitarist. When they got Randy, that kind of set the precedent. Randy Rhoads back in the day when he blew up as a solo artist when he left Sabbath. So I've always prided myself on I'm going to find the best guitar player. So if anybody comes in that club and hears this guy, they're just going to die. They're going to be like, wow, this kid is great. And the younger the better. Yeah, and I would say it's solid. You got to have a solid drummer and you got to have a solid bass player as well, because that stuff is not easy to learn.
Now, you were talking earlier about, you don't lead the lifestyle that you used to lead. And if you don't mind, I kind of wanted to touch on that a little bit. I know you said you were a recovering addict.
I'm pretty boisterous when it comes to my faith and what did it for me. And it would be Jesus, 100%. Yeah, I'm a Christian, and God saved me from a destructive lifestyle in an instant too. That's what was amazing. I spent my time from 36 years of age until I was 51 years old, cross addiction, pot, coke, pain pills. I had to get both my hips replaced at 40 something, and then they were feeding me pain pills. So I was a wreck for years and years, and I'd go to NA or whatever. I never really had a drinking problem, but I could easily. All I got to do is drink. I can't. I mean, why are you drinking? It doesn't taste good. I drink to get wasted. So, what happened was nothing really worked. I always had a reservation. Like, oh, well, this is great. I can stay off of pain pills, but I'm still going to smoke weed every day. Or, I'll drink every now and then. Oh, look, there's some cocaine somebody else got. Put out line. I'll do one because I don't have a problem and I'm leaving in a little while. I was never really serious about it. Until I found myself 7 years ago. It'll be this summer when with my worst off case where I was actually I was, and I'm not proud of any of this, but if it can help somebody, I became really bad on amphetamines. Actually, I had a lot of pain in my life that causes anybody to use drugs. From my first marriage, failed things, whether it be mother issues, father issues, whatever causes us to use in our life and to medicate, just kind of came down. And I just saw I guess my mind and my spirit, I saw the moment that this man was praying for me, I saw everything in my life that caused me to use. And I saw it wiped out and cleaned that night. And I knew that I would never use. And I haven't used since. It was the desire. He took it all away. I had an umbilical hernia done 5 years ago, and they gave me about 12 oxy, and it really scared me. And it's a whole different take now. It was painful, so I took one, and then I took another one the next day, and then I started feeling that weird feeling again, like, So my wife flushed them for me, and I'm okay with Advil and Tylenol. But there are deep truths in the scriptures. And there's one that says, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. All things have passed away, and all things become new. And that's what happened to me 7 years ago, in September 1. So, yeah, I'm very grateful for that. And I was really at a point in my life where I was giving up on everything. My kids gave up on me. I was sleeping on the floor at a best friend's apartment, and really at the end of myself. And I don't know who this Jesus guy was when I was a younger guy, but he's not around now, and he doesn't help me, and he's worthless, and there he was in Florida. It's an amazing thing, and I really, like I said, I wasn't driving, I was nothing, I had nothing, and he's restored to me 100 times what I lost through this 6.5 years. So yeah, that's my story. I'm sticking with it.
Oh man, thank you so much for sharing that, man. Just hearing how people overcome adversity in their lives, those are the stories that, really are meaningful to me. I could ask a million stories about how your songwriting is or,
Yeah.
this or that, but it's these stories that, really get to me and the perseverance of someone. So, man, keep up the great work. You may be 4'8", man, but your spirit, man, is definitely 10 feet tall.
Oh, thank you.
So what's next for Little Ozzy and his band?
Man, what is next for Little Ozzy and his band? Probably, I would say, a few changes. Not right away, but I have great backup singers. The drummer's girlfriend. She does all my harmonies. Because none of the guys in the band can sing. But they're all good musicians.
Right.
No pun for those guys. Some people just don't sing. But I would like to get a keyboard player, and I would like to offer a real experience where it's just deeply insane, even if it requires another guitar. I had this law that, well, Ozzy only had one guitar player, one bass player, and a keyboard player, and it was him in the front and the drummer. I'm not above getting two guitar players as long as it sounds like the record and offer the Ozzy Osbourne experience. And I think that having met him and having blessings and things, it's an important thing for people that love Ozzy to come see someone that's carrying the torch that actually knew him and spoke to him and communicated and things like that. It's a really cool thing. And I find that at every show there's usually two or three that come up and they're like, "Can I shake your hand?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I just wanted to shake the hand that shook the hand." And it's just it seems silly, but it's important to people.
Yeah.
And it's fun to take those people back that are my age to their adolescent, teen years, when they were young and living life, and when they come to you and tell you, I haven't felt this good since I was 20 years old. It's just a good feeling to be able to give that to somebody, a stranger. And you meet a lot of good people. I've got friends all over the country now. Just good friends. It's funny, the first guy that comes to my mind is Dave, a guy named Dave I met on the Monsters of Rock Cruise last year. He lives right smack dead in the center of Salt Lake City, Utah. And we stopped by and see him and his wife, and they're just wonderful rappers, and they're good people. And it's just a great career, and I'm blessed immensely, and I don't even know how to even explain that anymore.
Well, talking about a career, I know you're got your little Ozzy career going, but you also have a career in professional wrestling as well.
Well, yeah, it's a funny thing because I'm gonna be straight up with you. I'm 100% Micro Wrestling Federation fan, supporter, and all that. But when I grew up, I always thought wrestling was cheesy, fake. I never really understood it, but I knew there was a big market for it. So I always kind of steered clear of those things throughout my career because it seemed to me at first as kind of a sideshow, kind of a circus act. And I didn't like the way that people treated the midgets, and I say midget because they say it, and they don't care if people say it. We live in a world today, everybody's so sensitive, but that means small, and that's where it came from. And
Right.
so yeah, I always would go look at the other midget wrestling outfits, and some of them would call me and offer me positions doing a singing or commentating or whatever, but I never had any interest in it until I met the owner of the Micro Wrestling Federation. They got a show on Discovery Channel 2.5 years ago, and they called my band and me and wanted us to be a part of it, and I was really excited. So when we got to Nashville to film the 6th episode, the network did not want my band because they were advertised guys. They wanted all little people. That being said, my boss was like, me an offer. I called him and said I'd love to actually come and sing songs every night with you and commentate your matches, but I know nothing about wrestling. So I don't wrestle per se, but I'm a commentator for them, and I love it. I get to run my mouth all night, run the mic back and forth, operate the sound, the lights, and I get to sing Ozzy every night before the show starts. Great thing, yeah.
Well, anywhere you can sing Ozzy every night for a job,
Yeah,
dude.
isn't that funny? I sing Crazy Train at my church in St. Augustine, Florida.
My God.
And the preacher's from New Jersey, and he's a good old boy, man. Let me tell you something. He'll come to church. I'll see him in the city, have his little Ozzy shirt on. I'm like, man, he's the coolest.
Oh
Yeah,
my God. That is great. That is
it
great.
is.
Well, at least you're not fronting Motley Crue or anything like that, and singing
It'd
Shout
be
at
a
the
little more
Devil.
hard. Yeah, right. It'd be a little more hard to sing 10 Seconds to Love in church.
You're going to make me choke right now.
Well, so many people have this analogy that if you're a Christian, you're a square, and it's just it's sickening, and I just feel like that's something that man has done to it because, and we face it, we all have problems, and we're all kind of ugly inside.
Oh, yeah.
So we all really need this, and I really don't think when in Jesus' time when he was teaching all these things and hanging around with the prostitutes and the drunkards and all the Jewish Pharisees were angry with him, and they were like, well, why are you hanging around with all these people? And he's like, these are my people, see?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really funny. I'm still human. I have a filthy mouth. He took everything from me but my language, and that's something I need to clean up more and more every day. But we're all a work in progress, bro.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. Sometimes I'll talk about, my church and such, and I'll just make this short and sweet and brief. And, there came a time a few years back, my mom passed away in 2022, and I hadn't gone to church in maybe 4 years, 5 years, except for the holidays,
Yeah.
And after she had passed away, my dad found her journal, and she kind of encouraged me to go to church. So I just didn't go to the same old church that I normally went to. I went to 4 or 5, and the last church that I went to, I walked in, just picked out a row, sat there, and the dude in front of me had an Iron Maiden t-shirt on, and I said, damn, this church is for me.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah. Well, I went last Sunday and spoke at a church near Nashville called Sanctuary International. Now, back in the early 90s and the late 80s, there was a church in California in Long Beach, and it was known as like a heavy metal church. They had all these hair bands coming out of it making records. They got hugely famous. There's one called White Cross. You remember Striper?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, Pastor Bob is 72 years old, and they moved the whole church to Nashville. So they called and asked me if I'd come share my story. So I got to meet all these guys I used to listen to their CDs and share with them, and it was just an amazing time, you know.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's awesome, man. And you do have a story to tell, man.
Yeah, dude.
Now, do you think of ever writing your own material and kind of putting it into the shows?
Oh yeah, dude. I have an original CD you can look up online, and you can actually listen to it free. It's called I'll tell you in the listeners, if you just Google Little Ozzy and J.E. Frey, Frey, you'll see The Darkness Thou Canst Dispel. It was a German guy that hit me up a few years ago. Actually, right before I got on the History Channel, and he asked me if I was interested in singing and creating melodies for his original album in the vein of Black Sabbath, and he wanted my voice on it. So I have 8 to 10 songs out there that you can download and listen to that are incredible. And a lot of the guys have been saying we actually need to play some of these live. I just know people are coming to hear Ozzy and not my music, but I have a few things in mind right now with one of the guitar players. I want to kind of do like a covers CD.
Okay.
But I also have some original music we're gonna incorporate into it. So it it's a possibility. I was really hungry for it when I was younger, and I had a Christian band in the '90s called Smash Your Idols back in the day, and we wrote music then, and it kind of sounded like Nirvana, but a little heavier. We were in the times and trying to make something happen, and so yeah, that. As far as writing music, I did that all my life. It just happens that the good Lord wanted me to be Little Ozzy, so that's what really consumes most of my time.
Well, before we wrap it up here today, where can everybody find you at on social media?
Man, if they just type Little Ozzy, if they're real Ozzy fans, they won't spell it Ozzy like most people do. And I know that when they, like last night at the casino when they handed me my package when I got there, it was spelled Ozzy. And I thought, she probably doesn't know the first Ozzy song.
No.
But if you just Google Little Ozzy, you can find me on all social platforms. But my website is littleozzybites.com.
I love it. Absolutely, man. Hopefully you can make it up north a little bit here to Pittsburgh.
But I've played Pittsburgh a lot. I've done the tattoo convention there in the Marriott by the river. So right now it seems to me Maryland, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana and all that area above me from Tennessee is all interested right now. So I'm sure I'm going to be in your area sometime soon.
Oh, that would be awesome, dude. We'll have to hook up.
Definitely we will, bro.
All right, Little Ozzy, man. Thank you so much. And, man, you have a great rest of your afternoon. And thanks for being here on the Youth Gone Mild podcast.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Just because this episode is over does not mean summer is over yet. Oh, hell no. We still got 2 full months of summer left, but not quite 2 full months of pre-produced Youth Gone Mild podcast. I should be back second week of August with all brand new openings and closings. But until then, you're kind of stuck with what you got. And I do apologize for that. But like I said, we have a family vacation coming up, a few road trips, and other commitments that I need to be taken care of. I hope everybody understands. I'd just like to thank my guest here on the Youth Gone Mild podcast today, all of my listeners, and my sponsor, Celebrity Events by Lisa Gandia. And don't forget, if you like what you hear, go to my social media pages at Youth Gone Mild PC. Give it a like, give it a follow, leave a comment. And if you're looking for the next episode date of the Youth Gone Mild podcast to resurface, then just follow us on all our social media platforms. And don't forget, we are also out there on all major streaming networks. And give us a like and a follow there as well. All right, this is Gen X Joe telling you to rock loud, live proud. Peace out. Props everyone for listening to the Youth Gone Mild podcast, where hairlines fade, but rock never does.
Gen X Joe and